Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Time for your questions, our answers. Thank you for being part of the program today. Much appreciated that. Much appreciate that. If you got a question you want to send it on over, you can do that to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Email address, gardentalkradio@gmail.com. You can send that over anytime, and you can also give us a call anytime, 24/7 at 1-800-927-SHOW, 1-800-927-7469. If we can't get to you, we will leave a message, and we will get back to you with the answer to your question.
So this question is sponsored by Fleet Farm and fleetfarm.com.
All right.
Can I plant store-bought potatoes that sprout inside, or is this not advised?
You can grow and plant sprouted potatoes that are in your cupboard or wherever they're at in your house. You want to be aware that you want the soil to be no colder than 50 degrees. You can get 45, but 50 degrees Fahrenheit, consistent, and no warmer than 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Otherwise, the potatoes will shut down. It is advised that you find out the variety of those potatoes in order to kind of give you an ideal of how long it's going to take for them to grow, whether they're short season, mid-season, or long season variety potatoes, 70 to 80 up to 130 days. Typically, the fingerlings are the longer varieties. And if they are long sprouted, let's say they're 3, 4, 5, 6 inches long sprouted, do not break that sprout off. Plant it in the ground in its full length capacity, because if you break that off, the potato has to go in a reset mode and try to regenerate a new growth in order to start growing a potato plant, in order to make the roots and all that. So leave the sprouts intact, either whole potatoes, or you can divide them up and have them the size of a chicken egg with at least 1 to 2 sprouts per piece. So there you go. I've never done raised beds before, and I want to do them this year. This one's for you, Holly. What is the best thing to put in the bottom of them, or should I just put the soil in and start planting?
Just go into your attic. Just grab, no. Okay, so seriously, unless you have rodents that you know of, so whether it be a groundhogs, moles, voles, those type of things, the little rodents that would cause harm to the roots of your vegetables, you can use hardware cloth for that. If you don't have that issue, maybe you don't know if you have that issue, but you want to err on the side of caution, you can use hardware cloth for that.
You're going to nail it to the bottom of that raised bed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you can just take cardboard, whatever old cardboard. You might have that in your attic, whatever old cardboard you have from shipping boxes and whatnot. Layer that.
If you don't have shipping boxes or ordered boxes that come in the blue truck, congratulations.
Do we have some?
Oh yeah, but people may say, "Do we take the labels off or leave the tape? Take the tape. Just throw it in the bottom."
Especially,
it doesn't really matter.
A lot of those have now that biodegradable.
But it's so much of a hassle. Just throw it in there, and if you end up getting it surface, throw it away. Then at that point. Yeah.
So all you do is you just layer that down there, just a nice layer.
2 layers.
Two layers. Put your soil on there, and you are good to go.
Yep. People will say, "Oh, put some hardware cloth or not a weed barrier down there." Yeah. Don't do that, because you got to have interaction with the native worms coming into the raised bed. You got to have some. You can't just create a barrier. Now, if you're doing it on a hard surface like a concrete driveway or something, that is a totally different type of. Then you can't have. You don't have that option. So. All right. Let's see. I started peppers in January. They're already flowering. Good-sized pepper plants. It's fun, but what should I do? Should I cut the flowers off and wait until I plant them and let them grow, or just let them be and let them do their thing?
You want to cut the flowers off, and you want to keep cutting them off until...
Not going to hurt the plant.
It's not going to hurt the plant. It's not going to stunt its growth. Keeping the flowers on will stunt its growth. So you want to just cut the flowers off, plant it, let it do its thing once it's outside. But right now, you want to have it focus its production on growing and not fruiting.
Well, it's good that when you cut the flowers off, it's going to stimulate more growth, more bushiness, more leaf structure, and the healthier, happier, bushier plant you got, the better you're going to be whenever you get that thing hardened off and get it in the ground. All right, I saw The power company cut down power poles, and I asked them if I could have one, and they cut it to the length I required, but my brother said I should not use it for my garden because it contains chemicals that are poisonous. What can you tell me?
No, you don't want to use that.
Not for the edible garden.
Not for the edible garden. So they are, they're very durable. They're going to last basically forever. They've been treated with creosote
and other things none of us can pronounce.
Who knows what?
Right.
But you don't want to use it for the vegetable garden. You can use it to build something with outside. Maybe you want to use it to build a little shed or greenhouse.
We used them for a corner post on the farm, and they are still there to this day. And I helped put them in 30 plus years ago.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that it's
you don't know many things on the farm was a thing. You're a city girl. You're a city girl.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
that
when the power company would come through and take down the old power poles to put new ones in, we would take them
like the wood ones.
Yeah. They would replace them, and then we have stacks of them that we would cut into specific lengths for corner posts. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go.
I know that nobody came to cut down power lines in my neighborhood, and if they did, we weren't like, hey, can we get a?
You were calling the power company because the power was out.
Yeah.
Back to this. You can use them for structures, but don't use them for edible landscape. You can paint them. You can do a lot of different things, but there's too much chemicals. This is what the old treated lumber used to be in the 90s with that creosote in it. Now that it's moved to a copper fungicide, some people may still think as a treated wood that it is toxic, but that's a whole conversation we've had before on the program where we feel it's not dangerous.
I got a vegetable joke.
Okay.
What did the tomato say to the mushroom?
I don't know.
After their first date?
I don't know.
I really like going out with you because you're such a fun guy. Ba-dum-bum, ching. More jokes.
Okay. I considered putting my
Somebody's laughing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We got to get through questions there. I am considering putting my pollinator garden next to my vegetable garden. Do you think that is a good idea or bad one?
First of all, they said y'all think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They will benefit your garden vegetable.
Location, though.
Vegetable garden. Yeah.
The location. Let's not put it beside the vegetable garden. Let's try to get it incorporated into the center focus of the vegetable garden. So that all the insects have to go over all the vegetables that are flowering, and the bees and the butterflies and everything, and they will pollinate those. And then if they get to the center portion of lure them in.
Okay, but they might be planting that pollinator garden because they like how it looks.
Well, true.
So then maybe they can plant some outside of the garden, like next to it.
But you understand.
And then that makes sense. I'm just saying that there's no harm in planting it next to it.
Correct.
But that is a good concept to plant it in the middle.
All right, yes. First year starting tomatoes from seed. I just planted from seedlings to pots, to larger pots. Is there a specific mild liquid fertilizer that someone can recommend? Now, whenever we you don't necessarily need to use a liquid fertilizer. Mm-hmm. If you're using a potting mix that contains a slow release fertilizer, that is key. If you're just using, or compost, we do a compost potting soil mix when we plant our seedlings. But if you do choose, if you're using maybe like you're growing them in peat pellets, which have no nutrient value, you do want to fertilize them with some type of liquid fertilizer. Whatever you're using, use quarter the strength of what the container says. Now, if you're using a compost tea that you've made yourself, don't worry about the strength. It is organic. The plants will absorb whatever it needs, and it won't harm the plants or won't make the plants dependent. The problem with the liquid fertilizer, Holly, is that a lot of times that fertilizer makes the plant dependent on that regular feed, and then you have essentially a plant that is addicted to a certain type of fertilizer that, if not fed regularly, it will start to react negatively towards the lack of that fertilizer. So you want to be able to, I would go compost tea, a natural organic fertilizer, liquid fertilizer. Most times you're not going to need it if you're growing in standard potting soil or compost mix that has some type of slow release fertilizer. You're going to be fine. And not only just for the tomatoes, but for your eggplants, your peppers, your brassicas, all of those things. If you up pot them. You can make your own decision, but we've never fertilized purposely for the reason of our plants are lacking nutrients because we are using good materials to start them in initially.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.